Hi, I'm Alecia May, and you're listening to A Shark's Perspective.
Welcome back, and thank you for joining A Shark's Perspective. I am Kenneth Kinney, but friends call me Shark. I'm a keynote speaker, a strategist, a shark diver, host of this show, and your chief shark officer. So in-person events are back. We're post-pandemic for the most part. But what has changed with conferences and events and shows? Is the goal to just recreate what we had in the good old days of 2019? Or are audiences wanting something different, something more? If you're involved in putting on an event, then ask yourself, what does it take to create an event people will remember? Alecia May is a certified digital event strategist, a certified meeting planner, a certified hybrid and virtual event director, and a certified coach consultant with over 17 years of experience in the event and entrepreneur industry, working with some of the biggest brands in the world. And on this episode, we will discuss events, conferences, shows, creating a great experience, trends, budgets, virtual platforms, events in hotels, especially those airport Marriotts, Canadian actors and comedians, an Australian diver studied by Alicia's son in school, and a lot more. So let's tune in to an event industry artist with a shark who would love to keynote your next event on this episode of A Shark's Perspective. Alecia, welcome to A Shark's Perspective. Tell us a little bit, if you will, about your event industry background.
Absolutely. So thanks for having me. I'm the founder and CEO of Eventistry by Alecia, and I'm a certified digital event strategist, meeting planner, and hybrid and virtual event coach. I also help a lot of coaches and speakers and consultants with sponsorship. So my goal is to create six-figure sponsorships in events. And, definitely love the new post-COVID era, if you will, with virtual.
What are the types of events you work with today, whether it's brands or associations, what types of conferences? Because events, if you will, is such a nebulous word today when you consider all the virtual stuff that we do.
Absolutely. So primarily we focus on two different industries. We focus on conferences and corporate events with clients like NASA and Pepsi and Alzheimer's Society, but we also do focus as well on the coaching industry. So anyone that is looking to create six figures at their event, fulfillment events, creating those experiences for brand awareness and marketing purposes, those are our two main pockets of what we focus on at the agency.
So what are some of the key indicators you see affecting events moving forward as we go into 2023? I mean, there's been so many changes and who knows what's going to come next, but what are you sort of seeing as the indicators of where we are today moving forward?
It's a great question. The way that we're moving forward is ever changing. This whole past year has been up and down and around the corner and down the bend. And what I mean by that is people are doing events differently, and there's not one trend that we're following. So there's people that are still, I'm all on board just for virtual events because it makes sense for our business. There are other companies that I still want to do a hybrid model where we do have one person in-person event annually, and then the rest are virtual. And then we have companies that are, no, I don't want to focus on digital. It didn't work for us. It was good when we had it. However, we just want to create live experiences. So not one company is doing something the same. Everyone's doing a very different model based on their specific needs and wants of their company. So that's the trend. People are like, oh, live is back. Live is back for sure, but it doesn't necessarily mean people are ready to be back in person. And I'm seeing that with a lot of event attendance and a lot of, what used to be a 1,000-person in-person event is now a 150-person in-person event, while the rest are hybrid. So I'm seeing a lot of that, oh, live is back, but I'm not seeing the attendance in specific industries. That is, some people are, technology events are back to where they used to be, or at least 70% capacity. However, I'm seeing a little bit of a decline in the live. And, you can tell, you can maybe argue with me and there was, 10 more people or, 10 times more people that from pre-COVID, and that's great. That maybe worked in your industry, but for where I'm seeing things, it's a little bit of all over the place right now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I know in 2022, I spoke in an event that in 2019, from understanding, had about 800 people in person. They paused in the fall with COVID and did a virtual. 2021, they did a virtual. They had it in 2022, along with three other conferences that this media company had put together, all nested in this one big, massive group of ballrooms. And instead of having 800 again, they had about 100 to 125. And the other three conferences didn't even amount to all of 800
Exactly.
people total. And it's as people get more comfortable, you still got budgets to deal with because CFOs got happy not having to send everybody's, travel everywhere. And
Exactly.
it's frustrating. I know another event that typically was in the 3 to 5,000 range, one of the bigger marketing conferences. They had maybe 1,500 people there this year. And I think last year or in 2022, they had 1,500. And in 2021, they had about 800. So
Right.
they've come a long way. There's still a long way to go.
Still a long way to go.
So what are you seeing though? I think that's a great point about everybody doing something a little bit differently. What do you see that they could do differently to make their events better?
Oh, where do I start? I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about their budget, right? Because you can either have an event at the Holiday Inn or you can have an event at the Ritz. Like there's so much in between as well. To make your event better as logistic side or as a management side, obviously hire somebody, because I keep hearing the same thing. Oh, we did it ourselves last year. Oh, we did it ourselves and it didn't turn out and there were so many errors. Okay, well then hire somebody that makes sense for you to hire, right? Whether you're on-site help day of or leading up to it. Marketing wise, I mean, where do I start? Marketing events is kind of this new bomb of, okay, let's just put up our event and hope people sign up, or like sign up for my event, register now. And that doesn't work anymore. You're going to need cutting edge, clear marketing, video marketing. You're going to need influencer marketing. You're going to need all of those wonderful things that help customers see it over and over again until they purchase a ticket. And it has to be innovative. It has to be brand new. People have spent the last 3 years glued to their screen. Nothing is interesting anymore. Absolutely nothing is interesting. We have, I think I read this, the attention span of 4 seconds, which is less than that goldfish of 7 seconds, right? So now we're at this level of error where we're always on our phone, swipe, 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 swipe. What's gonna say, make you stop in your tracks and say, oh wow, that's interesting. Maybe somebody else that famous speaking about it. Oh, if she likes it, then I'll probably like it. Influencer marketing has come a long way in the last 3 years since the era of TikTok has evolved. These ads on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, I mean, do you swipe through? Probably, right? Like, do you even look at these ads? Not anymore.
No.
So I've seen Instagram and Facebook ads plummet. Have you seen those plummet? I mean, that pay per click is down the drain. So right, innovative marketing that again works for your company and works for you. Some companies are not able to do that, especially big corporate ones, but and then, you talk about sponsorships, right? So I'm kind of trying three different industries here: logistics, your marketing, and then your sponsorships. And partnerships and sponsorships are much different than they were 3 years ago, right? Marketing budgets are slashed. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Well, so if someone is putting on their own event and they are used to working with sponsors, and it could be, 30, 40 sponsors, and that's where a lot of the base funding comes in to put together an in-person event. A lot of those could get a very good lead gen experience for their biz dev people they send. In the virtual world, it's much different. It's one, you're probably only going to be able to talk about one sponsor. There's not going to be even a virtual booth doesn't hold the same presence as walking by somebody handing out tchotchkes. But at best, they're going to be able to give out the list a lot of times with the email addresses and titles of whoever signed up. What do you think events can do differently to help maximize the sponsorship value for people who are now looking at this event world a lot differently?
I mean, I talk to sponsors every day. I talked to a sponsor yesterday. I'm talking to a sponsor this afternoon, and it really depends on the goal of that company, right? So you have to, first of all, listen to what they're telling you. If they're saying, we want brand awareness, we want this, we want to have those lists in our hands, then you can create that package, right? You can create that package, customized, bespoke package for them. I do like your tiered option to give them a guide as to here's the price indicators and here's what we want to have per tier. However, those are easily customizable. So at the end of the day, you have to listen to the goals, you have to listen to them, and you have to understand how to put them in alignment with your event through and through, right? From the very beginning to the very end, before and after the event, and maybe a year from now. And that's the goal in sponsorship today is to, simply listen to your sponsor. And that's the key. A lot of sponsors now are really focusing on what makes sense for them, as their dollars, like I said, have been a little bit slashed since you've seen all the tech layoffs, I'm sure. And understanding how they can best, utilize their money. And that's nothing new, but it's kind of coming to a that's the keen idea. They don't want to spend money where they don't have to. And so meet them in the middle, be compromising enough that if they want to spend $10,000 instead of that 30 that they did pre-COVID, then meet them in the middle and say, here's a package that I can create for you. And more often than not, I've been, 90% successful in that. So you just have to listen, understand your event, and understand where they want to go with their brand.
I'm looking forward to the day when you can really even sort of personalize the experience inside a lot of the virtual platforms, so that you may see something a lot differently than I do, depending on whatever, contextual advertising, if you will, to make, deliver something a little bit differently. That's going to be pretty cool. But you've used a gazillion tech platforms, right?
So many.
How many have you demoed and kind of tested through?
So we're at about 91 that we have used, actually used, not even demoed. Like, we've used a lot of those platforms before COVID too. I'm counting before COVID. Not one of them is perfect. I'm sure you've heard of that. Not one of them is going to have everything you need and the budget you want. Some of those platforms are $80,000 to $100,000, right? And they're still not going to be perfect.
But the salespeople say it's perfect for your event.
Oh, they can sell you into anything. Exactly. They can sell you into like wearing socks for their company. It's just a matter of what your budget is. What it's like your wish list, right? Here's my wish list. Here's my need and want list. Like, break it down. And if you don't get everything in your wish list, then, you can't, you're not going to be able to, even with a high budget.
What's your advice to event planners as everyone runs back to live events from the virtual world? We looked at live events and then tried to recreate that in the virtual world. A lot of big failures there. It became very
yes.
massive, like tsunami failures. And then it got pretty stale and boring. And, you had a lot of speakers who had their certified presenter, virtual presenter, and yet they were still boring. And events, people were still coming up and not paying attention. But now we're running back to live events. And I don't think that just recreating 2019 all over again is going to, even those were getting sort of stale for a lot of people. What do you think we need to learn from our past, if you will, as we move into the future with events?
I like that question. I think at the end of the day, it's like you mentioned, there's a lot of boring speakers. Like I think I've sat through 10,000 presentations in the last 10 years or 5 years, and there's a lot of boring content, a lot of boring speakers. And, I think at the end of the day, you have to make your agenda created with thought and purpose. Let's just say that, because I've seen amazing speakers and like they've stacked their agenda. Those agendas where it's like you have celebrity and this, and it's so like, wow, amazing. And then you go and see them and nothing is aligned properly, right? You go from one presentation to the next and there's no intersection. There's no meshing of the goods. And so that's a big pet peeve of mine. So let's do better, event, producers, planners, and even for myself, I'm not perfect. And, we want those celebrity names to draw that traffic, but at the end of the day, we definitely need to make that agenda mesh. Another thing too is my one of my biggest things when I attend an event is I see the experience through and through. From the moment I step my foot into the building, I want smiling faces. I want somebody to welcome me. I want, I don't want to see people in a corner hushed and with their clipboards all panicked. That to me is like, hey, something's going wrong. And no event is perfect. Something's always going wrong. Don't get, it is just the nature of the business, but I don't want to see that. I want to be able to feel welcomed, feel relaxed. I want to understand where I'm going because as attendees in a building, nobody knows where they're going. Where am I going? What's going on? How's this? There's a lot of things happening at the same time. The list can go on, but those are my two top, right? Your agenda has to be great and fantastic. And, for post-COVID world and era, it has to be top notch, even if they're not well-known speakers. Okay.
You've hired in a lot of speakers, right?
I have.
Select a lot of them. What is it that you see that makes them more interesting? It's not somebody juggling compared to somebody sitting necessarily.
At the end of the day, it's all personal. Like, I think it's also personal selection. Sure. But I do listen to my client or, if I'm putting on my own event, by the way. And so when I'm, trying to find the best speaker possible for my event, I want to understand who they are, what they tick, what kinds of things they don't agree with, because that also helps dialogue and that also helps their presentation. And I understand if people asking them questions when it's open mic and they say something that I don't necessarily agree with as the event host or organizer, it really, kind of puts it all in place. So what I look for specifically, there's a whole bunch of things, but their presentation or if they've spoken at that topic before. So give me something that I can compare it to. And then also give me a great video, right? I don't want to see I got a video the other day where she was doing a cell phone in the back of the room and I could barely hear her and it was very shaky and very low res. I can't get anything from that. So it was an automatic trash delete. Sorry. Sounds really bad, but I don't have time to sit through hundreds of applications and hoping for, another thing is if it's easy and simple, right? And your title, who you are, your bio. I want to click a video that actually works, not a broken link, right? And then I want to go to the website, a minute or two video. Give me the full presentation as well, just in case, but I want to show reel. Oh, that's amazing. Perfect. And have a conversation, right? And then be prepared to ask them questions.
And sharks.
And sharks, right?
Because my demo reel has to be the only one that I've seen.
I love your demo reel. I did see it, and it was like, that is interesting. See, that's
I don't know any others that have a warning label in there.
I do not either. I've never seen that, and I've seen thousands.
Yeah. So what are the buzzwords that you're hearing about the events? One of the things everybody's talking about a lot more with events is the experience. I'm hearing sustainability come in all the time where, we use paper straws after we've flown on jets and used put a lot of carbon into the air so that we can go to a sustainable event, but there's so many things that are sort of trend worthy. People do have to seriously pay attention to get people in the door. But what are some of the ones that you really pay attention to, at least for in-person events?
It really depends on the company. I work with, I'm consulting with a company right now, tech company, and they're all about sustainability, 100%. It's all about no paper at the booths, no paper at events, understanding their carbon footprint and, choosing local caterers that are farm to table. There's a whole bunch of, ways on the trends of different companies that I work with. Another one is definitely the experience, but I feel like experiences do get thrown around a lot as a very cliche word. It's a very misunderstood word. I think it's a very much, we'll have an amazing experience, but they're not willing to put in the budget for the experience. And then it just happens just to be a, same old event on stage with people and lights and show. And I mean, it's the same thing. So how are you actually going to create an experience? Are you going to create a pocket of experience? Because that's a different way to think about it. Is maybe there's a pocket of experience, not the whole thing, because you cannot do a whole thing without the budget, right? You cannot have a greeter at the door and you can't have this entertainment. But even if you do, it's not going to resonate with some people, right? I've seen amazing events that I thought were like top notch, amazing celebrities and craziness and lights and show and huge LED screens. And that doesn't work for some people. So the experience and the trends and all of this, it's just a trend. I think we've always been aware and keen of how to create experiences. It's just a matter of what you're going to do about it. And also the person, right? There's so many different people going to your event, and you're not going to make everybody happy at the end of the day, right? Like,
yeah,
it's just impossible. It's just impossible. I don't think I've ever produced an event, and I've produced thousands, that everyone was so crazy, 99.9% amazed at this event. It doesn't happen. And if you are one of those people, I mean, come and argue with me. I'm happy to have that conversation. But at the end of the day, trends come and go, right? I think that now there's a lot of experiences that are intimate events. That's what I'm hearing, intimate events, which I love. I love those intimate events. Sure, do it 100%, right? And have your live stream, but do it correctly. And if you don't know how, then, go out and find out the things. Like, I have a running list on my phone of all the things that I love about events that I've attended in the past. And I go back and I remind me, okay, that's great. That's what I love to see. I don't like. So create your own trend. It's my little pocket of advice.
To that. That's great advice. So wave your magic wand. What one thing would you do if you could wave your magic wand over to make events amazing, or at least a lot better going forward? What's the one thing that you see over and over again? You just could give them a little twinkle of the eye. And
I'm going to say something like super controversial, maybe. I don't like events in hotels. So that's my take, because I wish I can wave a magic wand and find the perfect venue that isn't in a hotel, because hotels almost dampen the experience. And there's that silly word again, because you have other people, you have the elevators, you have squirrel, you have this, there's so many things that are going on in the hotel. You have people that leave the event. So, pick a venue and pick something that works for your event, that is going to be the best. I drove, and one example, I promise I'll be quick. I drove to this event venue, which was beautiful on the inside, but it was like 35 minutes in industrial warehouse. And I'm like, oh my gosh, do people want to, go to this event, even if it's 35 minutes outside in this crazy weird neighborhood? But once they were there and there was like this kind of, bubble, it was fantastic, right? And so it was easy. We had food trucks and everything. So I don't like hotels. I mean, it's super convenient, but I feel like it just dampens the experience a little bit. So
yeah, I get that. Not that you can ever bring down that airport Marriott experience, but I get it.
Marriott's, yeah.
Well, Alecia, I asked this of all my guests, and I've got to ask, especially considering you're on the water.
Oh, I love it.
But what is your favorite kind of shark and why? You've got a child who probably sees some sharks.
I like, the great white is going to be he was obsessed. He took a class on sharks. So he did. It was on, I can't remember this website during COVID.
Who did?
Outschool. My son
okay.
did. And it was like this famous shark guy, diver, whoever, and he got bitten by, he had no leg, right? It was like, he was obsessed with sharks. So he's a big fan of the great white. So I have to be as well. He was Australian, I believe. Yeah. I can look it up.
No, I got to look it up because it's going to drive me nuts. Paul DeGelder.
Yes, I think that was him. Yeah.
Paul DeGelder.
Paul
DeGelder, DE space GELDER. He was a Navy diver that got bit off of Sydney Harbor. I couldn't think of his name, but I knew all the background. But yeah, he lost a couple of limbs. So
Yep, there it is. Shark class. See, Paul de Gelder. There it is. Yep.
Nice.
Yep. July 2020 is when he took it. He was obsessed with sharks.
Love it.
Obsessed. So
Love it.
he knows all of them.
All right. Well, Alecia, it's that special time in this show where we're going to maximize the experience with some sustainable questions. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
Are you ready
gosh.
for the 5 most interesting and
I am.
important questions that you're going to be asked today?
I'm ready. Let's do
All
it.
right. Number 1, for the best experience done right, in-person events or virtual events?
In person.
All right. Number 2, which Canadian over their body of work is funnier, Jim Carrey or Ryan Reynolds?
Oh, that's a toughie. Ooh, I'm gonna say Ryan Reynolds. Sorry,
Okay.
Jim. He just has that dark, wonderful, sarcastic humor that I love, not the goofy humor.
Okay. Okay. All right. Number 3, Zoom because of its simplicity and ease, or something else considering all the failures that people often run into.
I'm gonna stick to good old Zoom.
Boring,
Good
but it
old
works.
Zoom. Boring, but it works.
All right. Number 4, another Canadian question.
Love these.
Yeah, we're picking on the Canadians
I
today.
love this.
Which Canadian is better at the craft of acting, Ryan Gosling or Rachel McAdams? Have you seen The Notebook?
I just watched it like a week ago. I don't like Ryan Gosling. Sorry. Rachel.
Okay.
She was amazing in The Notebook. She's like charismatic. So yes.
She's a cutie.
Yeah.
All right. Number 5, and the most important question that you're going to be asked today is biscuits or cornbread?
Oh, that's a Southern thing. I'm going to say biscuits.
Okay.
Yeah.
To be honest, you wouldn't believe how many people say, well, I'm a Southerner, so it's got to be cornbread, or I'm a Southerner and it's got to be biscuits. And so it's anything
Half
with bread.
and half.
Half and half.
I mean,
so Alecia,
love it
where
all.
can people find out more about you, learn about what your company offers and what you're doing in the event space, keep up with you and more?
Absolutely. So you can go to eventistrybyalecia.com. I know it's a mouthful. Go on over to LinkedIn and connect with me there. I share industry articles. And you can find me Alecia May on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Alecia, for being with us today on A Shark's Perspective.
Thank you, Shark.
So there was my conversation with Alecia May, a certified digital event strategist, a certified meeting planner, a certified hybrid and virtual event director, and a certified coach consultant with over 17 years of experience in the event and entrepreneur industry, working with some of the biggest brands in the world. Let's take a look at 3 key takeaways from my conversation with her. First, ask yourself, what are you doing with your event that creates a great and unique experience? We're all excited post-pandemic to do in-person events, but replicating 2019 events is not what everyone wants, and attendees want not necessarily more, just not the same. And people got used to not traveling. CFOs got used to not paying for the expense of sending people to conferences. You may even get a free pass on the first post-pandemic conference you put on, but it's got to be more. As she said, nothing is interesting anymore. So ask what makes people stop and pay attention to your event. There are a lot of choices for attendees with conferences and shows. Just don't forget that. Second, I like what she said, create your own agenda with thought and purpose. You've got to align your production well, understand the ebb and flow of an event, and that can be crucial to creating a great event. Better than just throwing together a gaggle of speakers. Look at content and speakers, if you can, as amounts of energy, and find where they fit the puzzle. Ask yourself, how would you like it to flow? And then try to find the piece that fits that puzzle when you need it. Conferences often align types of content too much together, but sometimes the energy speakers create can trump or shrink that effort. Think about that energy as much as you do the type of content. That's all I'm asking, because I want to see some exciting speakers. Third, buzzwords are great when thinking of trends, but consider more how the content truly resonates with attendees. Trends come and go, but great shows check all the basic boxes of having great speakers and great content first. And I love it when she said, create your own trend. Got a question? Send me an email to kenneth@asharksperspective.com. Thank you again for the privilege of your time, and I'm so thankful to everyone who listens. Here's an event alert, lots of energy and great content. Oh, and it's going to be underwater where I'll be when you join us in the next episode of A Shark's Perspective.